A new clip from Drake's Knocked Manor Party is going viral, and fans are convinced it shows the latest chapter in his feud with A$AP Rocky. One small gesture has everyone arguing over the same question. Was Drake sending a message? Let me break it down. The clip that got everyone talking didn't come from a music video or an interview. It came from a party. During the Knocked Manor Party, a DJ dropped Burning Bridges from Drake's album Iceman, and cameras in the room caught something fans couldn't unsee. During the Knocked Manor Party, the DJ played Burning Bridges from Iceman, reigniting speculation that Drizzy is still taking shots at A$AP Rocky. And from the moment Eastman dropped, fans pointed at several lines on Burning Bridges that appeared to be aimed at the Harlem rapper. Here's where it gets specific. While the song played at the party, Drake made a gesture toward his cheek during the line. "Look in the mirror, see what talking gets you." The moment sent social media into detective mode, with many fans speculating that the gesture was a reference to the scar on Rocky's cheek. And this wasn't some blink and you miss it detail buried in a crowd shot. It was captured clean, close up, timed perfectly with the lyric. The music journalist who first flagged the clip, Kirko, posted the footage with a caption noting that Drake appeared to mock A$AP Rocky's facial scar while vibing to Burning Bridges last night, pointing to his face as the line, "Look in the mirror, see where talking get you" played. That post alone pulled in reactions from people across the industry, fans, and casual scrollers who had no idea the beef was even still active. What made the internet lose it wasn't just the gesture. It's that Drake has done this before, and now people were connecting dots across multiple appearances. Weeks after the party clip, another moment surfaced from a live show. During a set at the Apollo Theater, Drake was caught pointing to his face again on the exact same line. During a live performance at the Apollo Theater, Drake pointed to his face as he rapped, "Look in the mirror, see where talking get you." The same lyric, the same gesture, now on a stage in front of a packed room instead of a private party. So now it's not a one-off, it's a pattern. And patterns are exactly what turn a private moment into a viral story that won't die. The lyric itself has layers people are still unpacking. Nothing has been confirmed about the cheek motion, but the timing was enough for fans to believe Drake was intentionally adding a visual jab to an already personal record. Nobody from Drake's camp has stepped up to confirm or deny what the gesture meant. He hasn't posted about it, hasn't addressed it in an interview, hasn't dropped a statement. The silence is doing more work than a denial ever could, because it's letting the internet run wild with theories. And here's the thing, this isn't the first time Drake has put Rocky's name in a verse and let people fill in the blanks. On the record, Drake seemingly references Rihanna while taking aim at Rocky, rapping, "Your baby mama ain't even post a single damn where she at." That line lands right in the same pocket as the cheek gesture. Rihanna, Rocky, and a jab about how she supposedly didn't show public support for his music. Fans immediately zeroed in on why the scar matters so much in this specific fight. It's not just a random physical trait Drake picked to mock. It's tied to something bigger. The sense that Rocky walked away from all of this looking fine. With Rihanna, with 3 kids, with a Billboard #1 album, while Drake is the one still bringing it up years later. The scar didn't stop Rocky from starting a family with Rihanna, as one commenter on the viral post put it, capturing exactly the sentiment spreading through the replies. The reaction split almost instantly into 2 camps. One group thought Drake was just being petty and reading too much into a random gesture during a party. The other group was convinced this was calculated, deliberate, timed to the exact word in the lyric that references looking in a mirror, a detail too precise to be accidental. That's the debate that pushed the clip past a few thousand views and into millions, with commentary accounts, hip-hop blogs, and reaction channels all weighing in within hours of the footage surfacing. With the tension between Drake and A$AP Rocky continuing to fuel lyrics, performances, and social media debates, even the smallest gesture is now being analyzed like another diss track. That's the state things are in right now. A hand movement at a party got treated with the same scrutiny fans usually reserve for an actual verse. That alone tells you how deep this rivalry runs and how little goodwill is left between these 2 men. But to understand why one gesture at one party turned into a firestorm, you have to go back to where this actually started, because none of this came out of nowhere. Before any of this, Drake and Rocky weren't rivals. They were friends, and Drake was the one who put Rocky on. Once upon a time, Drake and Rocky were collaborators and friends. Drizzy brought Rocky on the Club Paradise tour as a supporting act in 2012. That same year, the two recorded together on a song that became one of Drake's signature records. Drake was also collaborated with Rocky on his 2012 single Fucking Problems, which also featured 2 Chainz. So this wasn't 2 rappers who never liked each other trading disses for clout. This was a real friendship with a real history that fell apart over time. And Rocky himself has now gone on record about exactly when he felt the shift happen. Talking to DJ Academics, Rocky walked through it piece by piece. The Problems rapper starts by claiming he thought he and Drake were all good until Rocky got with Rihanna, saying, "I thought he was my mans. I thought he was my dude," and explaining, "I think when I got with my girl, he just started throwing shots out of nowhere." A$AP Rocky and Rihanna went public back in 2020, but they had been friends and romantically involved for a lot longer. What makes this detail sting is that Drake wasn't distant from Rocky at that point. The opposite, actually. He recalled how he was still friends with Drake when he came to Yams Day that same year. Drizzy even gave him a chain inspired by the late AP Yams while he was there. That's not the behavior of someone already plotting a beef. That's someone who was still in Rocky's corner, at least publicly, right as Rocky and Rihanna were becoming an official couple. And then, according to Rocky, everything changed. Earlier this year, Rocky recalled the turning point in their relationship to be after Yams Day in 2020, telling Academics, "That's 2020, gangsta. Me and Shorty was locked in," and adding everything was subsequent after that. That's where all the shots started happening. In Rocky's telling, the friendship didn't slowly fade. It snapped right around the moment his relationship with Rihanna became real in the public eye. Now, Rihanna's history with Drake matters here too, because it's the third leg of this whole story. Drake and Rihanna dated on and off for years before she and Rocky got together, and that history has never fully gone away in Drake's music. Fans have pointed to it going all the way back to 2023, when Drake's album For All the Dogs dropped and people immediately picked apart the opening lines of one track for hidden references. Some of the shots Rocky may be referencing date back to Drake's 2023 album For All the Dogs, particularly the song Fear of Heights. In the track's opening lines, fans speculated that Drake took subliminal shots at Rihanna through wordplay involving Anti, the title of her 8th studio album. That album didn't sit well with a lot of listeners either. When it dropped, the reaction wasn't just fan detective work. It was outright frustration that the subject kept coming up. One critic tweeted, "Drake dissed Rihanna and A$AP Rocky, and that only means one thing. It still hurts him enough to disgrace himself to the public after 6 years." Adding, "I didn't think I'd ever say this, but Drake, you flopped." Another wrote, "Drake still crying about Rihanna. 7 years later, we tired." While a third added, "Drake still rapping about Rihanna. Plus, hang it up." That reaction is worth sitting with, because it shows this beef has never really been a 50-50 public perception battle. A big chunk of the audience has, for years, viewed Drake as the one who can't let it go. That perception followed him into the Kendrick Lamar feud too, where Rocky's name got dragged into a fight that had nothing to do with him originally. During that 2024 war with Kendrick, Drake found room in his bars to fire at Rocky as a side target. Even in the middle of his beef with Kendrick Lamar, the OVO rapper found time to throw a few jabs. At the AAP mob member on Family Matters rapping, Rakim, AAP Rocky talking stud again. Gassed, "Cause you hit my BM first. Nunga do the math, who I was hitting then." He followed that up by questioning Rocky's relevance as a rapper, adding, "I ain't even know you rap still because they only talking about your fit again." That verse is important because it shows Drake wasn't just reacting to Rocky. He was going out of his way to bring Rocky into a completely separate fight. Rocky, for his part, didn't rush to respond in kind at the time. When asked directly about beefing with Drake back then, he brushed it off, saying he had bigger things going on. But that patience clearly had limits, because everything came to a head at the start of this year. If the cheek gesture is what made this go viral now, the album Rocky dropped months earlier is what escalated things from subliminal shots to direct hits. Don't Be Dumb is the 4th studio album by A$AP Rocky, and it landed with a track that fans immediately flagged as his most pointed shot at Drake yet. On the song Stole Ya Flow, Rocky didn't bother hiding behind wordplay. On track 4 of the album, Rocky appears to set his sights on Drake with a diss, rapping, "First you stole my flow, so I stole your bitch," seemingly referencing his long-standing beef with Drake over several issues, most notably accusations that Drake copied his style and Rocky's relationship with Rihanna. That's about as direct as it gets in rap, without saying the name outright. And Rocky kept going, working in a reference to a completely separate feud that had already made Drake a target of internet jokes for over a year. Rocky continues going in on clones, rapping, ends getting BBLs, lucky we don't body shame, throwing dirt on Rocky name, turn around and copy game. The lines harken back to Drake and Kendrick Lamar's 2024 feud, which included Metro Boomin's viral BBL Drizzy moment and Kendrick's jabs at Drake's alleged cosmetic surgery on Euphoria. So in one verse, Rocky managed to hit Drake on the style-jacking accusation, the Rihanna history, and the same body-shaming jokes that Kendrick had already used against him. That's not subtle. That's stacking every available grievance into a single song. The album wasn't done there either. On another track, Rocky leaned even further into flaunting his relationship with Rihanna as the ultimate rebuttal to anything Drake had said. On the track Show of Hands, Rocky spits over Metro Boomin's grand production, flexing his relationship with Rihanna once again. Ends in they feelings over women. What? You hurt or something? I smashed before you birthed. Son, Flacco hit it first. Son. When Rocky sat down for the Popcast interview to talk about the album, he didn't try to dodge the obvious question. Rocky seemingly confirmed the intended target of the track during a recent episode of John Caramonica and Joe Coscarelli's podcast, Popcast. He wasn't hiding who Stole Ya Flow was about anymore. And a few days after that, in a separate sit-down, he explained his reasoning for the whole thing in blunt terms. Talking with Apple Music's Ebro Darden, Rocky compared the rap beef to professional wrestling. Around the 15-minute mark, Rocky compared hip-hop beefs to the WWE, but said that the issues between him and Drizzy aren't real smoke. I just don't fuck with him. The Harlem rapper continued. That's a strange thing to say about someone you just dedicated multiple verses to attacking, but it fit Rocky's whole approach through this. Dismissive on the surface, pointed underneath. The album performed well commercially too, which only added fuel considering the subject matter of the disses. Rocky's Don't Be Dumb debuted atop the Billboard 200 in January, with 123,000 equivalent album units earned, according to Luminate. So Rocky wasn't just landing shots. He was doing it from a #1 album, which made the I Stole Your Flow line land even harder, given the commercial numbers backing it up. Drake didn't sit on this one for long. Word had already been building that his next project would be loaded, and in May he delivered, not with one album, but 3 at once. Drake's answer to Rocky wasn't a single diss track. It was an avalanche. The Six God didn't waste much time with his brutal response on Iceman's Firm Friends and National Treasure in May. On Firm Friends, he dropped a line that was blunt, to the point of being genuinely alarming to a lot of listeners. Key I West A ASAP. That's some S2 that you could do for me. He belittled Rocky on Firm Friends. That's not a subliminal. That's not wordplay you have to decode. That's Drake, by name, telling Rocky to kill himself, dressed up as a diss bar. It's one of the harshest lines either side has thrown in this entire back and forth, and it set the tone for how aggressive Drake was willing to get this time around. He didn't stop with one album either. Drake also dropped another pair of albums alongside Iceman, Habib T.I. and Maid of Honor. 3 projects released together, with at least 2 of them carrying direct references to Rocky and the Rihanna history that's been sitting underneath this whole rivalry since the beginning. On Burning Bridges, the same song that would later become the backdrop for that viral cheek gesture, Drake worked in another Rihanna reference aimed squarely at Rocky. Drake dedicated some of Iceman to responding to Rocky again on both Burning Bridges and Firm Friends. On the former, he rapped, "Your baby mama ain't even post your single," while on the latter he rapped, "Kai West ASAP, that's some shit that you could do for me." That post your single line is doing a lot of work. It's Drake pointing out that Rihanna didn't publicly support Rocky's music the way a partner might be expected to, using her silence as ammunition, the same way he's used her name as ammunition for years. Rihanna didn't stay quiet for long either. Rihanna made it clear she was supportive of the father of her children by showing up to the opening night of the Don't Be Dumb tour later that same month. Showing up physically in public to the first date of Rocky's tour is about as direct a rebuttal as she could give without saying a word into a microphone. It answered Drake's "Where She At" line better than any tweet could have. And then Drake, instead of backing off, leaned into the joke about his own line. Drake, however, has since seemingly doubled down with the release of merch that reads "Where She At." He turned a diss lyric about Rihanna's absence into an actual product being sold to fans. That's a level of commitment to a bit that tells you this isn't just wordplay anymore. It's become part of his brand around this album cycle. Rocky's response to all of this played out on stage rather than in the studio. During his Don't Be Dumb tour at a stop in Seattle, he pulled off one of the most talked about moments of the whole run. During a recent show in Seattle, Washington, A$AP Rocky held up a fan sign that directly compared Don't Be Dumb to Drake's latest trilogy of albums, reading, "This cutie smoked all 3 of your fuck-ass albums," a sign which featured Rocky's face. The moment was captured and spread everywhere. Rocky looked to be laughing as he showcased the flag on stage to the Climate Pledge Arena crowd, and photos of the moment went viral on social media. Not just holding it up quietly, laughing, showing it off, making sure the whole arena saw exactly what the sign said. That same night produced a second viral clip that fans found almost as telling as the sign itself. There was another clip from the show of Rocky catching and stopping himself, from rapping along to Drake's bars, from 2012 Billboard Hot 100 Top 10 hit F-Kin Problems, which he's continued to perform at every stop of the Don't Be Dumb World Tour. The idea that Rocky still performs a song he made with Drake years into an active feud and then catches himself getting too comfortable with Drake's verse on it. That's the kind of detail that keeps a story like this alive on social media for days. Billboard reached out to Drake's team for a response to the sign moment. Billboard has reached out to Drake for comment. As of the writing of that piece, nothing came back. Silence again in the exact spots where a denial or a joke back would have been the easy move. That silence didn't stop the internet from having opinions on all of it. Reactions poured in across platforms, weighing in on who was actually winning this exchange, with plenty of fans pointing out that Drake seemed to be doing most of the chasing, given how many songs across 3 albums he dedicated to a rival, who was mostly laughing on stage in response. So where does all of this leave 2 men who used to tour together, who made a hit record together, and who now can't go a single album cycle without dragging each other's names through it? Right now, neither side shows signs of stopping. Rocky is still out on the road, and the tour keeps generating more of exactly the kind of moments that keep this feud in the headlines. He continues his North American trek north of the border with shows in Edmonton and Calgary this weekend. Every stop is another chance for a fan sign, another chance for him to catch himself rapping a Drake verse, another chance for a clip to go viral. But the tour has also produced friction that has nothing to do with Drake directly, which shows how tangled this whole situation has become. In recent weeks, Rocky drew criticism for comments about women in the crowd, remarks that struck some fans as needlessly crass, particularly with Rihanna appearing at several of the tour dates. But by Tuesday night in Vancouver, the conversation had shifted again, this time because of a fan-made sign that quickly found its way online. Even Rocky's own missteps get folded back into the Drake conversation, because the 2 names are now permanently linked in the public's mind. The Scar moment hasn't faded either. Weeks after the Nocta Party clip first surfaced, hip-hop commentators were still dissecting Drake's history of bringing Rocky's name into unrelated situations, digging up old context to explain why one gesture carried so much weight. Some pointed to how DJ Academics framed Drake's side of the story, noting reports that Drake felt Rocky had dragged another rapper into their conflict unfairly, adding another layer to an already crowded timeline of grievances. Rihanna, for her part, hasn't gone silent either. Beyond showing up to the tour opener, she's continued showing public support for Rocky's music in smaller ways, the kind of gesture that gets clipped, posted, and picked apart, with the same intensity as anything Drake or Rocky put out directly. Every comment, every appearance gets treated as another data point, in a rivalry that shows no sign of a ceasefire. What's clear at this point is that the footage from that party wasn't an isolated incident. It was one entry in a much longer list, a cheek gesture at a private event, turned into a repeated motion on a public stage at the Apollo. A subliminal reference on a 2023 album turned into a direct line with Rocky's name on it 2 years later. A quiet interview about wrestling comparisons turned into merch with a taunt printed on it. Every time one side seems to try walking away, something, a lyric, a gesture, a fan-made sign, pulls it right back into the spotlight. And that's really what makes this story different from a normal rap beef that burns hot for a news cycle and disappears. This one has a real relationship underneath it, a real family connection through Rihanna and her children, and nearly a decade and a half of history between 2 men who used to tour buses together. That's why a single hand gesture at a party could travel as far as it did. It wasn't really about the gesture, it was about everything sitting underneath it, waiting for exactly this kind of spark. Whether Drake ever confirms what that gesture meant, or whether Rocky ever drops a verse that goes even further than Stole Ya Flow.